Don't take time.
Let it take you
across the sky,
into the horizon.
誰かが目覚め
Someone is rising.
有人以身赴险
Someone is venturing.
Someone like you.
Someone like me.
So let it roll.
A journey you begin.
An adventure that never ends.
So it's a smartwatch, yeah?
Yeah, well, kinda. Let's go back a step and take a look at the whole picture. The product is the Louis Vuitton Tambour Horizon Connected. And okay, yeah, it's a smartwatch, but it's a product from the LVMH group. You may have heard of these guys. They're the guys that make $200,000 bottles of cognac, $5,000 bottles of champagne, and $5 million watches. Yeah, that's right. The LVMH group, or you may know them as Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, kind of have a bit of a specific target market in mind for their products, not your regular Tom, Dick and Mary. The LVMH group are actually quite a complex organisation, with houses such as Celine, Marc Jacobs and Donna Karan New York in their fashion stables, Glenmorangie, Dom Perignon and Cloud Bay in their booze portfolio, and Zenith, Hublot and Tag Heuer, and even Bulgari in their Swiss-made watch group. These are just a few of the brands within the LVMH family.
Okay, so what's the novel marketing highlight then?
And here we are, on to the crux of the matter. No faffing about. Okay, the primary novelty here revolves around product, which is one of the infamous 4 Ps that makes up the marketing mix. This product may be a smartwatch, which has been done before. Even luxury smartwatches have been tried in the past, even within the LVMH group. But what makes this product novel is that it's a luxury smartwatch that's being targeted at frequent travellers. And frequent travellers with impeccable taste, might I add.
Right.
No, bear with me. Let's take a quick look at some of the other Ps in the marketing mix while I build my case. In particular, the Ps of price and of placement. So price, that is the economic value that a customer is required to give up in order to obtain the product, and placement, which is the availability of the product to the customer at a designated time and location, both go hand in hand with this product. Former CEO of LVMH, Yves Carcel, described in an interview in 2014 just how important he felt that controlling 100% of a product's distribution was in building a successful company. With this in mind, Louis Vuitton only make the Tambour Horizon available through their own company stores or through their online marketplace. By controlling placement in such a way, they are able to influence the customer's perception of the brand and in turn, the product that they are purchasing. So if a customer then decides that the product that they are purchasing is exclusive, or if they have a fantastic experience in the place that they are purchasing the good, the company is more likely to also be able to control the price at which the good is sold. This imbues the product with a greater perceived value than it would have had if it were more readily available and in an environment outside of the control of the LVMH group.
So does that mean that placement can have an effect on customer decision making?
Yeah, absolutely. So traditionally, when looking at a customer's decision-making process, 3 categories of influence emerge. These are internal influences, social influences, and situational influences. Placement fits squarely into this third category of situational influences. It's the when, where, and how consumers shop. This has the ability to directly influence and shape their purchase choice. As mentioned, Louis Vuitton are very good at controlling this environment.
Go back to price for a second. How much does this thing cost?
Good question. They range between $3,450 and $4,200, and they can be accessorized with different strap options which can increase their cost. Now, while this might seem like it's a little on the high side for a smartwatch, which is essentially a product that has the potential to be obsolete within a couple of years, it's quite reasonable when compared to other products such as the Apple Watch edition in gold that retailed for $15,000. Or even within the LVMH group, the Tag Heuer Connected Modular 45. Now this watch can be spec'd up to include a mechanical tourbillon movement, taking the price up to a massive $25,000. So this product also sits in a nice position within the Louis Vuitton product line. It's a little cheaper than their backpacks, a little more expensive than their belts and wallets.
Yeah, that's still expensive. Who buys these things?
Well, that's a complex question. On the surface, the target market for this watch would appear to be people who have large amounts of disposable income, or at least enough disposable income to allow the perceived risk of investing in a $4,000 smartwatch not to be trumped by its potentially short 2 to 3 year life cycle. People who are not afraid to embrace new technology, and people who are frequent travellers. But to truly understand the target market, we need to look at the steps involved in the target market selection process. These are segmentation, targeting, and positioning. We'll just focus on segmentation here, as I've briefly touched on positioning of this product already, and I'd have to speculate a little too much in regards to Louis Vuitton's targeting process to cover that in any great depth. So, segmentation, I hear you ask.
Oh, right. What's segmentation?
Thanks. Segmentation is the initial process that marketing teams use in target market selection. It involves dividing a larger market into smaller pieces based on one or more meaningful shared characteristics. This can be done using several variables, the most common four of which are geographic, demographic, psychographic, and behavioural. In this case, it can be implied that the target market was not segmented based on geographic variables, as the watch is available in all markets with a Louis Vuitton store or access to the Louis Vuitton online marketplace. And besides, to a frequent traveller, geographic restrictions hold little meaning. So, with that one scratched off the list, let's take a closer look at the remaining three variables.
If we must.
Oh, we must. So, starting with the demographic variables, we're talking about things like age, ethnicity, family structure, income, and gender. We can deduce a few things from the marketing mix that indicate the segment of the market that Louis Vuitton were courting. So, in terms of income, given the price of the product, we're looking at the moderately affluent, those with plenty of disposable income to splash around. Given the technological nature of the product, it's fair to assume that the age of the target market would extend from those able to afford the product, so in their early 20s, through to those who still have an interest in new technology, stereotypically topping out at the late 50s, early 60s. As for gender and ethnicity, the advertising attempts to be as inclusive as possible, which also ties in with the idea of the product being for the traveller, someone who would frequently encounter peoples of all ethnicities and genders. Moving on to psychographics, looking at things like people's attitudes, interests, and opinions, we can see that the product is being squarely targeted at people that consider themselves to be citizens of the world, those looking for adventure in new places while doing it in style and comfort. These psychographic variables are tying closely with behavioural variables as well, specifically things like user status, usage rate, and usage occasion. We've already established that Louis Vuitton wants this product to be attractive to people who travel frequently. The advertising talks about journeys across the skies into the horizon, adventure that never ends, and the product has a tagline of "Your journey connected." Even the images on the device in the commercials show boarding passes on the face of the watch, a countdown timer to your next flight, and even your gate number being readily visible at a glance of the watch. So in terms of behaviour, Louis Vuitton are segmenting the market very distinctly into those who travel often or aspire to travel often, and those who don't. On the face of it, it might seem a very unusual market to chase, but if we look at the history of Louis Vuitton,
Here we go.
we see that this is a very comfortable market for the brand. The man himself, the titular Louis Vuitton, built the brand up from his early years of working as a packer. What's a packer, you might ask?
Fine. What's a packer?
I'm glad you asked. A packer was someone responsible for packing the accoutrement or belongings of a wealthy individual prior to them undertaking a journey. After performing this role for several years, Mr. Vuitton began to develop his own line of travelling trunks and cases, and the rest, as they say, is history.
So, in a nutshell?
Louis Vuitton have developed a novel product, and by controlling the placement and price of this product, and by selecting a target market by segmentation using demographic, psychographic, and behavioural variables, the decision-making process of consumers can be influenced in such a way that they fork over significant amounts of their hard-earned cash for a product that may be obsolete in a few years, and be happy doing it.
Why didn't you just say that?